Well, I survived the bachelor party in New Orleans, so I'm back to work on a Monday with my homegirl, Anita Marks. Didn't get arrested, didn't perish, so we'll consider it a successful trip. I'm Tyler Fulghum. She is Anita Marks. We're going to be rocking and rolling here on Bet for the next 30 minutes. We have our good friend, Jeff Passan, joining the presentation to talk about the first month or so in big league baseball. Ohm Youngmisuk will dive in as well as we move to the NBA. We'll play Diamond Dollars, see if we can keep that bankroll going, and of course, discuss the two NBA games that we have tonight. But a reminder, Anita, I have to tell the viewers, in case they're already not watching on our youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting channel, go there right now and subscribe to our youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting channel because it is everything you need as a bettor. So, Anita, you know how my weekend went. I see you rocking the Tatum shirt. We'll get to that game in a bit. How was your weekend, my friend?
Well, I didn't have money on the 80-1 horse, so it could have been a lot better, Tyler, but all in all, it was good. Thanks.
Yeah, no one in our group had the 80-1 long shot either, so we lost more than we took home from New Orleans, but that's not uncommon. All right, let's dive in and get things started with a little reaction or no action. We'll ease into the new work week. It's pretty easy. You know the drill. We're going to say a statement. You react with an affirmative or no action in the negative. We're starting the NBA. The Heat now tied up 2-2 with the Sixers after a couple of games in Philly over the weekend. Plus 260 to win the Eastern Conference. Is that bet making you go reaction or no action?
I'm going reaction here. I still believe in this Heat team. It's the best of three series, or I should say best of three games still alive in this series, and the Heat do have home court advantage. Two of those three will be played in Miami. A lot of people like to call it South Beach. It's really not. It's really Brickell Avenue, but I've digressed. The 76ers, they didn't come into this series as like a defensive juggernaut or anything like that. They've just had two really good games that I think the Heat are taking a hot second to really adjust. Eric Spoelstra needs to go back to the drawing board, come up with something fantastic. And again, two of the next three are going to be at home. Game 4, Hero, only 1 of 5 from downtown, 11 points. At home, he's shooting 60% from behind the arc, and they're going to need him, especially with Lowry not 100% and not expected to play. So, reaction. I'm still buying this Heat team.
Yeah, I love the Heat. I have no problem with the reaction. I'm on no action here. I just have said I think we're going to get a rematch of last year's NBA Finals with Milwaukee and Phoenix. And the fact that Boston is now down 2-1 to Milwaukee, I think this very second before we tip off Game 4 tonight, a great buying opportunity on the Celtics because if they even that bad boy up at 2 games apiece, they'll have home court advantage for a best-of-3 series going forward. So I do think whoever wins that Boston-Milwaukee series will ultimately end up in the NBA Finals. Not that Miami can't do it. Of course they can do it. They were there just 2 years ago. There's still a team built around a core of Butler and Adebayo that are dominant with great defensive and supplementary, kind of secondary players. Riley, Spoelstra, the whole thing. But I say no action because I kind of like the winner of Milwaukee-Boston best to make it out of the Eastern Conference. But I have no qualms with reaction at all. That was kind of a toss-up for me. Let's move to the Celtics and the Bucks. We will see a Game 4 tonight. The Celtics in Game 4 win the first half, but the Bucks win the game. If you want to make that type of prop bet, it's a plus 480 proposition. Again, Celtics win the first half, but the Bucks win the second half in the game overall. Reaction or no action to that bet?
No action here for me. Now, if you told me that the Celtics win the first half and the game, okay, baby, reaction. But man, this Celtics team, their backs are to the wall, Tyler. This is do or die. I truly believe whoever wins this game tonight wins the series. And keep in mind, this last game, Tatum only had 10 points. You had a horrible call on Marcus Smart. Should have gone to the foul line, shooting 3 free throws, not 2. And Horford was just 1 second late from a tap-in, and they still only lost by 2 points. Meanwhile, Giannis was a man possessed. I have not given up on the Celtics team. So the fact that the second half of your question is the Bucks win this game, it's no action for me.
Bingo. Exact same reasons that you laid out there. I like the Celtics to even the series up at 2 games apiece. I like them in the first half, but bottom line, the part of this equation that is making me stray from this bet is the Bucks winning the game. Would I be shocked if the Bucks win the game? Absolutely not. Giannis can go over 50 in any game. But I do think it's going to be a 7-game series, and I think the most likely way to get to 7 games is for Boston to tie it up at 2 games apiece tonight. So you said it all, and you said it well. No action. We agree there. Let's move to Big League Baseball. Anita Marks, you're in the Big Apple, basically, and the 2 teams in New York City absolutely crushing it right now to start this season. The Yankees and the Mets will win their divisions. Right now, both are on top, and you see the odds for each to win. You can make a little parlay there and get a nicer return on investment. Reaction or no action to both New York teams winning their division?
I'm going reaction here, and I love that this question is a part of the show because, as you know, I host Sports Talk Radio here in New York, and yesterday I was on for 4 hours, and this drove my show. Just the mere fact that it's not just that the Yankees and the Mets are playing well, they are dominating. In regards to the Yankees, right? Best starting pitching ERA right now at 2.68, 32 home runs. 14 steals, so they're number 1 in Major League Baseball in regard to base running. Great defense. They only have 6 errors on the season. Their only concern really in that division is the Blue Jays, let's be honest. As for the Mets, man, they have not lost a series all season long. They've got a great rotation, and Jacob deGrom has not even made the rotation yet. Just marinating that for a minute. They hit well. Showalter has created a great new culture in that clubhouse. And ownership, man, homie's not playing here. Robinson Cano's batting 195. The Mets owe him $30 million, Tyler. And they're like, see you later, dude. We'll eat the $30 million. Batting 195, 185 doesn't suffice here. See you later. Ownership's not playing here. So, man, a lot of reaction. I love these 2 teams right now, and New York is hot.
Look at us in agreement yet again. I'm right there with you. Reaction. I mean, it makes sense. Major League Baseball is a game of the haves and the have-nots. There are very few have-nots that can compete with the haves. And we know, now that Steve Cohen has taken over for the New York Mets, they are spending actually even more than the New York Yankees. But these are 2 of the top 3, top 4 spending teams in Major League Baseball. You get what you invest. And these 2 teams have invested well over $200 million to have 2 of the best rosters in Major League Baseball. DeGrom getting ready to come back for the Mets, who added Scherzer and Sterling Marte and are getting, a return on their investment this year from Francisco Lindor. And then, of course, Stanton, Judge, Garrett Cole, the investments for the Yankees. Some of those guys haven't even started to hit yet, really. So, again, in a game of haves and have-nots, I think these are 2 of the best teams in Major League Baseball because they spend as much money as any 2 organizations in Major League Baseball. All right, since we're talking Big League Baseball, it's only appropriate to welcome our first guests of the day, and looking stylish and comfortable on this Monday, MLB insider Jeff Passan. Jeff, let's kind of take stock of where we are in the betting market, so to speak, about a month into the big league season. So far, it seems like Vegas is pretty much getting it right. When you take a look around Big League Baseball, there's only 2 teams that were not the preseason favorite to win their division that are on top right now. The Twins lead the AL Central. The White Sox were the preseason favorite. The Angels lead the AL West. It was the Astros that were the preseason favorite. Everything else is chalk around the other 4 divisions, including all 3 in the National League. Jeff, does this start surprise you?
It does a little bit. And the big part, frankly, for me, are the New York teams. There's always that built-in extra odds in favor of the New York teams to win their divisions. And the Yankees and Mets are actually proving so far that it doesn't matter if they got a little extra juice there. They're that good. And, I think the Chicago White Sox ultimately are going to be the winners of the American League Central. They've been doing this, remember, without a lot of players. Yohan Moncada and Joe Kelly coming off the injured list now. Lance Lynn's not going to be far behind. Eloy Jimenez is going to come back. And the Houston Astros are only a half game back of the Los Angeles Angels. I'm not sure if the Angels have been overachieving at this point, but they've certainly been better than a lot of people, myself included, thought they were going to be. I do think they're here for the long haul, and I do think the Seattle Mariners, even though they've looked absolutely awful lately, are ultimately going to be a team that's in the playoff race and in the mix for that AL West championship.
All right, Jeff, as you know well, life is all about balance, and those are the teams that are good so far in this big league baseball season. Let's pivot to one team that is particularly heinous at the moment, and that is the 5-28 Cincinnati Reds. Now, good news is they won 2 or 3 from the Buccos over the weekend, but sitting at 5-23 through their first 28 games, they're on pace for just 28 wins this season. So their current win total is sitting at 58.5. The Mets in 1962 famously lost 120 games. The Reds would have to win less than 50 to top that in the loss column. Can they continue this horrendous play, or is maybe some more wins on the horizon for Cincinnati throughout the summer?
Yeah, they can continue this horrendous play, but I'm not sure that they're going to continue it to the point where they're going to get 121 plus losses this season. You have to be a historically horrendous franchise to do that. And while the Reds are bad, they are injured at this point. There are a lot of guys, whether it's Nick Senzel, Jonathan India, Luis Castillo, who are on the injured list right now. And so I think they probably look worse than they actually are in the end. But is this a 100-loss team? Yeah. Is this a team that could lose 105-plus games and that 58 taking the under? Yeah, I could see that as well. Cincinnati is really bad. And let's not forget, they're also going to be trading guys at the deadline this year, anybody of value on that team. So unless they have Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and other young players taking steps forward, they have a chance to be really, really bad. I'm not going to go all-time bad quite yet, though.
All right, let's get back to the good and check in on the MVP market. Again, kudos to you for 2021 with Shohei Ohtani preseason at 50-1. Right now, the guy who's made a big jump to the top of the odds board is Manny Machado. Opened the season at 35-1. He is now your favorite at plus 550. And here are the other names that sit atop that board. Nolan Arenado right behind him at 6-1. Soto, Acuna Jr., who just came back, Freddie Freeman, and Francisco Lindor. Do you think Machado can or will win this? Is there another name worth mentioning?
Can, absolutely. Will? Well, let's remember, he's doing this and producing at this level without Fernando Tatis Jr. in that lineup. So when they get one of the best players in baseball back a month and a half down the road, they're going to be even better. And let's remember, picking a player from a losing team like Juan Soto is a really difficult thing to do for MVP voters. Now, some of them do it, but he has to be above and beyond. And so I look at some of the winning teams that are out there. Starling Marte, I don't think he's going to win National League MVP this year, but he's been phenomenal in all facets for the Mets so far. And on the Dodgers, Mookie Betts has started to heat up, and Trey Turner, of course, batting in the middle of that lineup, going to score a lot of runs, going to steal bases, hit home runs, drive guys in. He's making his free agent drive this year. To me right now, it's a two-man race between Machado and Arenado, who's been off the charts good, really retooled his swing this offseason, spent a lot of time trying to find the same swing that he had when he was in Colorado. Well, he's found it, and him and Machado right now are neck and neck.
Yeah, not only with what they bring at the plate, but defensively as well. Those are two about as good as you can get at the hot corner. Finally, your guy, Yordan Alvarez, is now third behind Vlad Jr. and Aaron Judge as far as odds to lead Major League Baseball in home runs. We know Judge has been hot, and we know Vlad Jr. what he is capable of. Do you still like your guy, Yordan, in this market?
I'm sticking with him at this point. Listen, I'm not falling away from the guys who had longer odds before the season. You have to stick with that bet, do you not? And here's the thing. He got off to a awful start this season. So the fact that he's heated up and put himself second in the home run race right now, he's got 8 and the leaders have 9. I mean, I think he's got, between the park and the power and his ability to go out and just go on tears, I think he's the favorite right now to lead Major League Baseball in home runs. No disrespect to Judge or C.J. Cron or Pete Alonso, who hit a couple in the second game of the doubleheader for the Mets yesterday. There are a lot of good home run hitters. That's the beauty, to me, of power in baseball. even if the ball is not flying like it has in years past, in recent seasons, if you have true raw power, doesn't matter what ball you put out there, you're still going to get your home runs.
All right. Jeff Passan, the best in the biz, as opposed to those Reds who, I think I said, were 5-28 at one point. Not quite yet. They're 5-23. Don't want to shortchange him.
Give it a week.
Very, very possible, but we do have it right at 5-23. They may be the worst. Jeff, you're the best. We appreciate you joining us here on Bet.
Thanks, Tyler.
All right, Anita, let's continue this conversation on the diamond. A few dollars in the market. You know what time it is, homegirl. Diamond Dollars Monday plays of the day. Now, before we give our official plays for the games this evening, let's just go back to the last time we had some Diamond Dollars bets. Last week, May 2nd, Anita, a couple of L's in that Minnesota-Baltimore game. It's all right. You're still above the starting mark of $100, $33.52 in the black. We will take that, but I got to win because we were opposed to one another with the total 7.5 in that Minnesota-Baltimore game. So I won another $21.46. I'm up to $161.46. So, again, still doing great as a tandem for this season. I want you to get back on track this Monday. So what bet or bets do you have for tonight?
All right, so I have two bets for you tonight. My first one is I'm putting $10 on the Arizona Diamondbacks on the money line against Miami. They've already swept the Marlins. The last time they faced them in a series, they're 9-3 in their last 12 games. Miami lost to San Diego last night, and they have to travel. Arizona, hence, does not. And Miami, they are walking up Hernandez to the bump to deal for them, and he got hit hard last time he went up against the Diamondbacks. So Diamondbacks on the money line. And then I got a prop bet for you, and that's $15 on the Brewers Woodruff over 6.5 strikeouts against the Reds. Now, last time he faced the Reds, 12 strikeouts. He's got 19 strikeouts in 2 games. He's got a 30% strikeout rate. And as we know, the Reds, their bats whiffing more than any team in Major League Baseball. So $15 on that prop bet. Woodruff over 6.5 strikeouts tonight.
I love your Woodruff prop there. He started the season slow, but the velocity is back up. We had 12 Ks his last time out in Cincinnati, as we have discussed. Ooh, particularly stinky at this point in the MLB season. All right, I am kind of breaking from my mold and adopting the Anita Marks kind of strategy here. I have 2 bets. Every Diamond Dollars we've played this season, I've had just one, but now I'm feeling saucy since I'm up to $161. And in that same game, Anita, I don't care for the purpose of my bet who wins. I just think the total's going under 8.5. So for your bet, how about a nice 4-2 Arizona victory? Under 8.5 runs, betting $11.46 in that matchup. The big reason is, so far Arizona has played 15 games at home this season. 12 of them have come under the total. 12-2-1 under on their home field. That's an 85% hit rate to the under, by far the best in Major League Baseball. I'm going to keep riding that trend until something changes. And then I may have gotten ahead of myself with this one. I just looked at Carlos Rodon, pitched it against the Colorado Rockies, and I said Giants first 5, run line, which is -0.5 run, laying a $145, which I hate to do, but I said Rodon coming off the loss against the Dodgers, against the Rockies. Oh, this should be great. They're at home. They just won each of their last 2 games of the series with the Cardinals. I'm risking $10 to return a $16.90, which is not a great return on investment. But I will say this: if you're a Rockies fan and you want to bet your Rockies tonight, I did some research later in the morning after I'd already gotten my bets in that indicate that the Rockies absolutely demolished left-handed pitching. They're first in average. They're second in OPS. They got guys from the right side like C.J. Cron, Randall Grichuk, and whatnot that can crush lefties. So my handicapping was, coming off a loss, Rodon will get back. They're the better team at home. But then I found out the Rockies matched lefties. So I don't really like that one. I hope they have that lead after 5 innings. But if you're a Rocky fan and you want to fade me and buy into your team, there is reason to do so. They crush lefties, and you'll get a good price against a guy like Rodon. So a recap of what we have. Not uncommon to have 4 bets on Diamond Dollars. Usually, those 3 of those would be Anita's and 1 would be mine. Today, we're splitting. Anita's got 2, and I have 2. Both of us are invested in that Diamondbacks-Marlins game, and we can thread the needle there. A D-backs win with 8 runs or less will be the ideal outcome. I love Brandon Woodruff getting at least 7 Ks against Cincinnati. I think that is an absolute banger with the way the Cincinnati Reds hit and with Woodruff finding his groove. And then again, may have gotten ahead of myself just backing Rodon aimlessly against the Rockies. The Rockies crushed lefties, so we're going to need Rodon to really show up and dominate. All right, let's go back to the NBA. We were talking about it in reaction or no action. We got a couple of games tonight. Before we get to those, Anita, let's welcome in our good friend, the always dapper, Ohm Youngmisuk, who's going to help us dive in to this Memphis Golden State Warriors series. And a big storyline right now for this series, of course, Ohm, is the injured knee of Ja Morant. He will not be available for Game 4 tonight. We know he's going to be out, and I'm curious about going forward. Win, lose, or draw, will he be able to play a Game 5? So what's the latest you can tell us on how Morant is doing?
Well, he is yet to be officially ruled out. He is officially doubtful for tonight. Now, the Grizzlies just went through shoot-around. I asked Taylor Jenkins, what did he do in shoot-around? And he said, not much. I said, will he plan to do anything pregame as far as working out? And he said, still to be determined. So the Grizzlies are kind of playing this game a little bit where they're trying to keep things really tight. I watched Ja walk in this morning off the bus. He's favoring his knee a little bit. So it's hard seeing him play tonight, but you never know. As far as Game 5, the Grizzlies are saying, they're not saying much really. So we'll see. I mean, that would be a do or die situation for the Grizzlies.
Right.
All right, so the Warriors, they are favored by 10 points. 10 points. As we know, Jordan Poole has emerged as that triplet to the Splash Brothers. His over-under tonight is 20.5. Would you play this?
I would. Jordan Poole has scored 27 or more in 5 of the 8 playoff games so far. That includes 2 of 3 in this series. And tonight, if Ja Morant can't go, I'm not saying Ja Morant is an elite defender, but when you put Tyus Jones in, Tyus Jones can defend, but Jordan Poole is extremely fast. And we've seen times where Jordan Poole has blown by Tyus Jones. So Dylan Brooks comes back tonight. He is one of their best defenders, but this is going to be a tough cover for the Grizzlies against Golden State's obviously Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole. I would like Jordan Poole to go over that 20.5.
All right, Ja officially doubtful, but looking gimpy. Never in doubt, our guy, Ohm Youngmisuk, bringing the heat as we get ready for Game 4 between the Warriors and the Grizz tonight. Thank you very much, Ohm.
Thank you.
Well, from one Dapper Dan to the next, Brian Windhorst, come on down. We have another game and another series to examine tonight, and Wendy joins us here now live on Bet with the Celtics and the Bucks in mind. I want to start with the man on Anita's shirt, Jayson Tatum. We know he is one of the best in the business, but the Milwaukee defense has done very well with him in the series, particularly in Game 3, where they held him to just 10 points. His point prop for tonight is 28.5. He has gone over this in one game this series, but it was by that hook. 29 is his high water mark. He hasn't necessarily been efficient. So, Wendy, do you think Tatum goes over or under this number tonight? And what has been Milwaukee's key to success against him?
The way this series has gone, I don't like any overs because I think actually this series is going to even slow down even more. The scoring has gotten lesser by the game. It was 103-101 in the last game. Now, Tatum, I expect to have a big bounce-back game. In fact, when he's had bad games in the playoffs in his career, he almost always has a big bounce-back game. But he could play great and still not score 29 points. It's not a vote of confidence. It's not a vote of no confidence in him. But I just think that number's a little high. And I would look for the Celtics to try to get Tatum off of Drew Holiday or Wesley Matthews. Both of them have had great success guarding him. Anybody guarded by Drew Holiday has struggled for the Celtics in this series. He's giving up 27% shooting. So look for screens and other actions early in the game to get Tatum on different defenders to try to get him on positive momentum.
All right, so we hear that Chris Middleton out for game 4, but for the series, quote unquote, we'll see. Wendy, what are you hearing about Chris Middleton, and do you expect him in this series?
Yeah, they're definitely not ruling him out for the rest of the series. I would say that game 5 is unlikely, but after that, I think it'll depend on what the series is and just where his mobility is. The thing about coming back from a knee sprain like this is stability and structure and the structural integrity of the knee. So I would say at the start of the series, I was hearing no optimism at all from the Bucks. Now I'm hearing some glimmers of hope. So I'm going to stop short of saying for sure, but I definitely think it's trending like he could potentially be around if there's a game 7, and we'll have to see, maybe even possibly game 6, but it's too early to say.
Great information, great analysis. As always, appreciate you, Brian Windhorst, joining us for this Monday Bet. Enjoy tonight's game 4. All right, Wendy was talking about it. Let's break it down. Celtics and Bucks, game 4 tonight. A crucial one as the Bucks could take a commanding 3-1 lead, or the Celtics could tie it up at 2 and make it a best of 3 going forward with 2 of those remaining 3 on their home floor. We discussed how Jayson Tatum has kind of been held in check, and I agree with what Wendy's been saying. Unders all over the place in this series. The Bucks are a 1-point favorite, a total of 212.5. Anita, how are you going to wager tonight's matchup?
All right, how much time do you have? I've got a lot on this game. First and foremost, I love the Celtics. I'm taking them on the money line. I also like the under here at 212.5. I still believe in this Celtics team, right? Like 10-3 post a loss, 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games. Again, even with Tatum only putting up 10 points, Giannis putting up 42, shooting 62%. The Celtics still almost won. I broke it down a little bit earlier in the show and all the reasons why they lost. Smart getting the bad call. Horford 1 second too late. I've got the dude on my shirt right now because I believe Tatum is going to bounce back. So I like the Celtics. Why do I like the under? All 3 games have gone under. The average is 193, which hits the under. The Bucks defense only gives up 101 to their opponents. The Celtics defense only gives up 103 to their opponents. The Bucks, 8 straight games have gone under, and for the Celtics, 5 of their last 6 have gone under. In regard to prop bets, Horford's getting a lot of playing time because of his size and his length, and he has to because of Giannis. So I'm going, so he's playing about almost 40 minutes. I'm going over, a double-double as well as over 11.5 points. Jaylen Brown's been a beast. I like the over 24.5. because Tatum's getting so much attention. And last but not least, Grant Williams, over 1.5 3-pointers. He's averaging 30 minutes a game, and he's shooting 50% from behind the arc. He only made 1 last game. That's not typical in regards to the way that he's been playing. So over 3-pointers for Williams.
All right, I just have one official play, and it is one of yours. I'm under 212.5 as well. I mean, you said it. Every Bucks game has gone under except for one, which is a push. Celtics had the best defense in the regular season. Milwaukee's had the best defense in the postseason. And Wendy says he expects this series to slow down. I do too. So 212.5 is way too high for me. Spoiler alert, going to be my best bet today on Daily Wager. All right, let's move to the Grizzlies and the Warriors. Again, unfortunately, it's looking like Ja is closer to doubtful than not. That's why the Warriors are favored by 10 after their beatdown in Game 3. But Memphis was pretty good this season without Ja, although this is a different beast. How are you going to play this one tonight, Anita?
Again, a variety of ways. I'll lay the points, the 10 points with the Warriors. Also, the Warriors, they are 4-0 in the third quarter. Steve Kerr making excellent adjustments at the half. They own the third quarter, so I'm going third quarter. I want to say you could get that at like -2 or -3. And also, I'm going to take the under here as well. As you said, no Morant. Listen, he's putting up 40 points a game. They're minus 12 points without him on the court per 100 possessions. 6 players, of course, for the Warriors went into double digits. I just think without Morant, I think they're done.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't want to lay the 10, but I like, which I did bet in the first game, the Warriors to cover the second half spread. It was 3.5 in the first game at home, Game 3, and it's 4.5 for this game. and I like them whether they are down, up, or even going into the break to put it on in that second half. You mentioned how they dominate the third quarter. That has a lot to do with it. If the Memphis Grizzlies come out and play inspired ball for the first 12 to 24 minutes, it's a tight game, I expect the Warriors to definitely pull away. But even if the Warriors are up by 10, 11, 12 at the break, I still think they can win the game by 20 or 30, just like they did Game 3, especially without Morant. So I like them no matter what the game script or situation is to cover 4.5 in the second half and keep that foot on the accelerator on their home floor in front of their home fans. All right, that's how we're looking at tonight's NBA games. Best of luck to you, Anita, and best of luck to you out there watching. Big time thanks to the comfortable and informed Jeff Passan. Big time thanks to the very dapper and also informed Brian Windhorst and Ohm Youngmisuk. Daily wager today at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on ESPN2. We'll see you back here Wednesday on Bet.